They've never experienced anything like this. They've never felt anything like this, and they're legitimately frightened.
Aldermen say residents are scared, and the violence levels in Chicago are at a crisis level.
Before we go on, you mind telling us who's responsible for 90% of this? No? Okay, just asking for a friend.
They've never experienced anything like this. They've never felt anything like this, and they're legitimately frightened.
Aldermen say residents are scared, and the violence levels in Chicago are at a crisis level.
Some aldermen gathered today to talk about the causes, but also solutions to crime in Chicago.
Sally
Typical liberal. We're going to talk about the problems and the solutions. We're going to talk about the causes and the solutions. Who cares what's causing this? And then their solutions are all like just pointless, waste of time and money and resources. This is a mess here, man. The causes of this. The cause. What do you mean? Stop this. Go out there and stop this. You have the resources, you have the power. You know what will stop it. Who cares if these kids are coming from homes or whatever? Mumbai, India, Mexico City, Lagos. It's more kids over there. It's 30, 40, 50, 100 times as many kids over there that are in situations that these kids in Chicago couldn't imagine. And those cities don't have this crime rate. They don't have this situation. I'm talking about people don't have running water. People don't even read. Like, read what? For what? It would never serve them any purpose to read. Living in squalor. Real squalor. What's causing this? Who cares?
Some aldermen gathered today to talk about the causes, but also solutions to crime in Chicago.
Sally Schulze reports.
In a city with a bad rep for violence, there's no debate. It's a serious problem.
This is a crisis, and it's something that we've never faced before. And if we don't resolve it, I really fear for the future of our city as a destination to live and work and raise your family.
But there is disagreement on how to handle the uptick in crime, as 4 Chicago aldermen took part in a Lincoln Forum virtual panel. Some say Chicago needs more officers on the streets.
No officers means no arrests.
Others say new limitations on CPD's foot patrol policy are to blame for crime spreading beyond normal hotspots.
Beyond normal hotspots. Let me translate that for you. The crime is no longer isolated to the Sun community. Okay? It used to be that these people would kill each other and shoot each other and rob each other and carjack each other in their own community, and it would just be a cauldron turning in on itself and just violence. And if you stayed out of that spot, or you didn't live in those spots, or you got a good job and you could move to places like Racine, Indianapolis, Gary, Indiana, Harvey, all places that are now cesspools, but previously would have been destinations to get out of Chicago in the 70s and the 80s. You just left. Now, since the summer of Floyd, the Blackistanian Spring, everywhere in Chicago is the hood. It's all the hood. Wow.
Policy are to blame for crime spreading beyond normal hotspots.
Is now the entire city of Chicago, because now the people who create these heinous crimes, they're saying, if I'm not going to be chased, let me go to the affluent areas and get more bang for my buck.
Well,
he called himself. He knows who's doing all of this. I mean, statistically, like 90% is basically all of it. He knows who's doing all of this. He knows who's driving the crime in Chicago. He almost said it, but he wants to get reelected.
Now the entire city of Chicago, because now the people who create these heinous crimes, they're saying, if I'm not going to be chased, let me go to the affluent areas and get more bang for my buck.
while others praise technology, including ShotSpotter, even after an Inspector General report blasted that system.
It's like the Wild West out there. Guns are everywhere, and criminals are using them.
Of course, there was a lot of bashing the mayor, state's attorney, and police superintendent David Brown, especially his citywide crime-fighting team.
Notice anything about the leadership in this city? Is there a unifying characteristic or trait amongst all the leaders in the city? Tell me if you pick up on it.
Of course, there was a lot of bashing the mayor, state's attorney, and police superintendent David Brown, especially his citywide crime-fighting team.
That team should be disbanded. Our officers should be sent back to the districts they were assigned to.
But we also heard a call for the finger-pointing to stop.
We can point fingers all day. We can point them at ourselves, as we should. But if we don't find the right solutions, we're going to deal with this over the next 5 or next 10 years, and it's only going to get worse.
With some predicting 800 murders in Chicago before the year end, it's a debate that promises to continue. Sally Schulze, Fox 32, Chicago.
Now, you heard them talking about crime is spreading to the suburbs of Chicago. Well, one place that a lot of Chicagoans have fled to and brought their same type of culture, because it's a culture they have. It's just like when people from D.C. moved to Prince George's County or Montgomery County or Northern Virginia. It's just like when people from Philly moved to other parts of southeastern PA. It's just like when people from New York moved to Long Island or, other parts of New York, the counties. Just like when people from St. Louis move out into the other surrounding areas, Ferguson, Clayton. When some people leave a city and they go somewhere else, they bring the same thing with them, even though they're the ones who fled. So it's obviously a hardware issue. Now, this is Racine, Wisconsin. Okay? Not Milwaukee. Racine, Wisconsin. Not too far from Chicago.
A mass shooting late Sunday night woke neighbors from their beds.
All of a sudden I heard multiple gunshots, had to be at least 2 guns, probably 30 shots at least.
It was chaos. It was utter chaos.
According to Racine police, officers responded to the area of Yount and Carter for a large, quote, loud and reckless crowd. Police say as soon as they arrived, they heard gunshots, jumped out of their squads, and helped 6 wounded victims. Police tell 12 News they expect all will survive, and the bullets hit nearby homes as well.
You can't let that go over your head. As soon as the cops arrived, they heard gunshots. None of these Sun people were murdered. None of these Sun people were roughed up. They were all assisted in given medical attention and rushed to the hospital so that their lives could be saved. And there'll be I'm talking about, this is how dysfunctional this community is. Every day in the stand, we see these big mass shootings. 10 people shot, 1 dead. 8 shot, 2 dead. 17 shot, no one dead. 20 shot, 1 dead. And the reason that is, and the difference between those shootings and the mass shootings in other communities is because the cops are there. They showed up and the people still shot. Like, it doesn't matter, but the cops were there to give CPR, to tie tourniquets, to put pressure on wounds, to do scoop and runs. If you know anything about the scoop and runs, I talk about that all the time. They put the people in the car and they rush to the hospital, running all the red lights with their sirens on, and drop these people off at these hospitals, because these inner cities have the best surgeons in the world because they get the most practice. Practice makes perfect. And no one will talk about how, dang, man, there was a mass shooting in a Sun community last night and no one died because the cops showed up and saved a bunch of people's lives, gave a bunch of people first aid. That happens all the time. That literally happens all the time, whether one person was shot, whether 20 people were shot. Cops show up and give these people first aid. Simple things that the people in the community don't even know. Just pressure on the wound. Take a shirt or whatever and jam it down on the wound. Stop the bleeding or slow the bleeding down. Tie a shirt around the wound. Slow the bleeding down. Chest compressions. Simple things that you would think people in the most violent neighborhoods would know, but they don't know it. Cops show up. They there before the EMTs. Then the EMTs sometimes come and take over. But no one talks about this aspect of it. That it would be so many more dead Sun people if it weren't for the cops and the EMTs. So many more.
It was chaos. It was utter chaos.
According to Racine police, officers responded to the area of Yout and Carter for a large, quote, loud and reckless crowd. Police say as soon as they arrived, they heard gunshots, jumped out of their squads, and helped 6 wounded victims. Police tell 12 News they expect all will survive, and the bullets hit nearby homes as well. You can actually see here behind me where police have marked off where at least one of the bullets hit this house, and next door, a neighbor tells me that their door was shattered as another bullet hit that as well. 12 News saw at least 5 homes with security cameras, but they either didn't capture the shooting or their owners weren't willing to share their footage out of fear of retaliation.
Don't let that part go over your head. Digest this part, chew this part up and swallow it.
As well. 12 News saw at least 5 homes with security cameras, but they either didn't capture the shooting or their owners weren't willing to share their footage out of fear of retaliation. The only person even willing to show their face on camera says her granddaughter was one of the people shot.
They said she had been shot in her legs, and I said, okay. And I was just praying because she had just had a baby.
She said,
and I said, okay. It's some strange people, but she just had a baby, and who knows, man? Like, listen, man. She shouldn't have been out there. She just had a baby. Well, listen, if she's from that community and that's where she lives, that's, that's her environment, she's going to be out there, whether she just had a baby or not. It's no point in saying, why was she out there? Of course she was out there.
They said she had been shot in her legs, and I said, okay. And I was just praying because she had just had a baby.
She says the crowd gathered for a vigil honoring a man shot and killed in the same spot 1 year ago. Their moment also ending in gunfire.
Parents need to come together and figure out what we need to do to stop some of this violence in the street. And if the Racine police can't do it, then the parents are going to have to come out and make a difference, because this is getting ridiculous where your kids can't go nowhere. Every time somebody goes somewhere, somebody getting shot.
In Racine, Caroline Reinwald, WISN 12 News.
Witnesses and family confirmed the vigil was for 20-year-old Marcus Earl Caldwell Jr., who was shot and killed in the same spot last year on October 17th. Caldwell was a star basketball player at Horlick High School.